Hello everybody, it's your girl Barbie J here, and I wanted to take a quick minute before I do this review to make you aware of what month this is. October is also known as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They're both very dear topics to me because I am a survivor of both, and I ask that women go out and get your boobies checked. Go out and get them checked every year. Take care of yourself. You never know, it could save your life. I know men can get breast cancer as well, but I don't know how they get their boobs checked. I have no idea, men, but just be careful. Feel for lumps like women do. That's all I can say for you. As far as domestic violence, nobody was put on this earth to be beat by anybody or abused by anybody. And if you're not sure if you're being abused, talk to a close, trusted friend. Call 311 or whatever number is in your state that you could call or talk to somebody. But there are several types of abuse. There's verbal abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's financial abuse, as well as, and the biggest one, physical abuse. And it's usually between spouses and things, but you could get raped by a stranger, that's abuse, okay? So please call a friend, call a trusted source, somebody. Go get help and get out of it. Do not stay in that situation. And please, go get your boobies checked. This is Barbie J saying God bless and take care. Bye-bye. Hey, did you see that? Season 7, episode 18 of the Haves and the Have-Nots. Ooh, okay. It was a pretty good episode, especially what it's leading up into. It had you asking a lot of questions, which I enjoy that, you know, that part of trying to figure out what's going to happen next. That's what keeps you going, because they show you the coming attractions, you know. But anyway, before we go into my review, as I told y'all earlier, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. See, I got on my little purple earrings and purple bracelet and stuff. And I wanted to play a little game with my subscribers. And this is for my subscribers now. Anybody who can name four people in the Haves and the Have-Nots season 7 who are abusers, domestic violence abusers in some type of way, put it in the comment section, and you have to tell me what type of abuser they are. You cannot repeat the same abuse twice, more than twice. So, you know, there's domestic violence abuse. If one or two of them are domestic violence abusers, you put who they are. Physical abusers. Let's put it that way. Physical abusers. Put it down and let me know. And I will send you a lovely gift. Okay? Once you put it in there and you have subscribed to my channel, let me know who the 4 characters are who have done some sort of abuse on this episode. Okay? Do not put your address until I write you back and say you are correct. Okay? And I will send you a lovely gift. But please be in the United States. Okay? So now, let's get on with the review. The recap. Okay? So we got Vinnie, who's trying to be Mr. Tough Guy. And he's swearing and cursing at Derek, get the F out the car, you know, all of that stuff. And Derek stuttering and trying to talk to him, and he's like, did you rape my mother? Did you rape my mother? And he's like, that was a long time ago. That was I was on drugs back then. Did she tell you I was no? He said, look, just answer my question. He said, well, who told you? My mother? Did your mother tell you? Oh, don't you worry, who told me that? Just get. Did you rape my mother? He's doing all of that, and I'm like, really, Vinnie? Really? You really think you that tough? First of all, that happened before you was born. Let it go. Let it go. Worry about your business and the stuff you do. That's my feelings about it. So, of course, Derek is feeling kind of... And Derek, like I said, Derek is trying to explain. Vinnie's not letting him. So, Vinnie, when he says, yes, I did, and before he can finish explaining, he punches him and knocks him down on the ground. Derek falls on the ground and stays down there. Vinnie's trying to get him to get up and fight him. Now, we all saw when Vinnie fought David. Okay? We saw when Vinnie fought David. Derek ain't David. Derek is hood. Derek will whoop Vinnie's assets. Okay? And we know this. We all know this. But we know why he won't do it. Why? Because he's trying to stay in Hannah's good graces. He's trying to get back in her good graces. Whooping her son's assets is not going to help him get there. So he stays down and he tells him, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you. And he said, get up and just get in your car and get out of here. He said, but I got to work here. He said, no, you fired. Who are you to fire somebody, Vinnie? You won't work for the Criers. You stole their money. You ain't got no way of you supposed to be firing somebody. I mean, the only thing he did was probably help avoid him coming face to face with his mama, because Hannah wouldn't have wanted to see him. So Derek drives off. Vinnie goes back to the house, tells Hannah what he did. And Hannah's pissed. And she's telling him to stay out of my damn business, boy. And she's like, I'm not discussing Derek with you no more. And he's like, Ma, you're going to have to tell me what's going on. And you got to tell me why you letting this dude get away with it. She's like, I ain't letting nobody get away with nothing. He's like, Ma, you letting this dude get away with this and you're not doing anything. She's like, who am I? He said he changed. He said that happened a long time ago. She said, stay out of my business. Stay out of your mother's business. She's a grown-ass woman. Stay out of her business, Vinnie. Worry about yours. And that's why she said, you give these people their money back. Give Mr. Cry's money back. Oh, you with that again? She's like, boy, get out of the way. You make me call the cops. All of a sudden, somebody's pulling up. And Vinnie's like persistent on letting them, you know, her talking to him. And she's like, if God said it's okay and could forgive him, who am I? Who am I not to? You know? So she's trying to let it go and let God handle her. You know that, let God fight your battles. We all know that saying. So all of a sudden somebody's pulling up. So that's when Vinnie leaves. And of course, who's pulling up? But the guy Al from the church, who's going to help her with her executor duties. And so Al comes in. Hannah he said, this is a nice house. Of course, Hannah says, it's not my house. And then she tells him, you know, he says, show me what's going on. And he trying to look at the papers and she's covering it with her hands. And I said, I hear you, Hannah, because who are you to show other people's business to him? She said, I don't know you like that. Hannah be cracking me up. I don't know you know. So she gave him a book, like a page of questions. And he was like, whoa, you got a lot of questions. And he started telling her. And then he looked at her. And she's like, oh, I forgot my job. She got up and got him coffee because part of the deal was, you give me a good cup of coffee, I'll help you with this. So that's how that went off with them. And then it started showing Jeffrey and Madison and Colby, and they're out to lunch. And Colby's telling Jeffrey all about Madison, how he used to be a go-go dancer back in the day and stuff. And Madison is a little annoyed and perturbed, don't want him telling that stuff, but they're all laughing. And, you know, Madison is trying to explain it away and embarrassed and stuff. And then Colby said he wanted to take Jeffrey out for drinks later on, and Madison wasn't trying to hear that. He didn't want that to happen. And then Madison steps away, and Colby lets Jeffrey know that he needs to talk to Madison about some things that concerned Madison, because Madison does talk to Colby about stuff. And that's when Jeffrey finds out that Madison has told Colby a lot about him and his family, mother and father. So he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, I don't like that bitch, you know, calling his mother a bitch. You don't do that. I know there's some gays who do that, the bitch this, bitch that, but you need to tune it back down sometimes when you talk about people's mothers. Whether they feel that way, that's their mama. They could feel that way. You don't get to talk about people's mama like that, you know. So anyway, so what happens? They make a plan. He said, we should do what you was told Madison about, like go skinny dipping in the mother's pool. But Jeffrey's like, nah, I don't think that's a good idea. So then it leaves them and it goes over to Laura and her husband, Samuel. And Samuel's out front trying to fix Veronica's cameras when Laura pulls up in the car. And she does look like Veronica from behind. It's so funny. You know, you wouldn't know with the wig and stuff and the clothes and the heels. I have a feeling, I don't know about y'all, but I really have a feeling Laura gonna end up getting killed because of Veronica. If I'm wrong, maybe, but y'all let me know. And they're talking about this whole thing, what's going on. And I'm like, y'all kind of close to the door talking about this stuff. And he's like, I don't know. Derek said to be careful with her. Don't trust her. She's trouble. And she said, yeah, honey, but she's nice to me. She's mean to other people. And, we need this money. He said, I know we need this money. She's like, you know how long we've been trying to get this, hustle on. And, you think we'll ever have a house like this? And he said, yeah, we're going to have one. It's going to be better and stuff. But anyway, so they're talking about what they're going to do tonight. They're kissing so she could go in. And that's when Veronica opens the door. She opened the door in the middle of them kissing each other. And this girl is like, oh, I'm sorry. And stuff. And she said, oh, no, go ahead. I love. You watching them kiss. Get them their privacy, Veronica. You's a six-something. She's a six-son of a gun, I tell you. But I think she was opening the door like, how dare you kiss my man? Veronica probably already claiming him as Samuel as her man. So she takes Laurel in with her, and that's the last we see of them in the episode. Then what else happens? Then they show Oliver. They got Oliver and Landon. I don't know what this was. Landon's trying to get Charles on some type of prime time or morning show, prime time special, and to talk about Candace or get Candace on there too or something. I think it sounds like he's trying to get Candace on there too because he knows Charles loves her still. And I'm like, how is he going to do that? He said, and he's telling the person, don't worry. And what's his name seemed to have a problem with this. What's his name? Oliver seemed to have a problem with this. Like, oh no, that's not going to work. You shouldn't do that. She's a whore, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what is Oliver's position again? I'm trying to remember what his actual position is and why he's there in this. But he's saying that the president would be better off with this girl Gretchen. And here goes Landon again with the, oh, you two with your silver spoons in the mouth. And Oliver's like, you got to stop holding that over me with the being born into rich parents and stuff. And he's right. Landon, let it go. He's rich. Let it go. We don't need to hear that anymore. So he hangs up, he's calling, Oliver calls Candace, what did he call her? A blackmailing whore and stuff. And that Charles would be better off with Gretchen, and Gretchen's a nice girl and all of this stuff. And he's saying all these things, and Landon's trying to get him to understand that the president is human and he likes a little danger and edge, and that's what Charles likes. And Oliver doesn't have much nice to say about it, saying he needs to act presidential and blah, blah, blah. And didn't Charles open the door? Charles opened that door and heard everything. And he said, no, go ahead. Keep speaking. He said, with all due respect, I just think you can do better. And Charles goes, I can do better. If I replace you, I can do better with a replacement for you. And, Landon jumps in trying to defend him. And he looks at Landon like, you shut the hell up and let me do this and handle this. Because you see, Charles got a temper. Charles ain't no one to mess with. I bet you he could do some damage to somebody. So anyway, Charles threatens him that he will fire him the next time he ever catch him saying something like that, because he could have fired him then. And then he leaves, and all of a sudden Oliver blames Landon, like, you knew he was outside the door. Landon's like, I didn't even know you were coming in the door. It's like, I did not. But meanwhile, he's still talking, and the president could still be elect. Could still be out there listening. He said, you still want to keep talking? So Landon runs out there and try to smooth things over and calm the president-elect down, Charles down. And Charles is like, who does he think he is? Da-da-da-da. They going on. Then Charles says, I want to go take my kids out for a walk. And, and Landon wants to make it a photo op with the kids, and the president is dead set against it. So they squashed that. He's like, don't be taking no pictures, having no photographers taking pictures of me and my kids. I don't care how good you think it would be for my image. Then, what does it go back to? I think it goes back to, they talk about Uncle Vinnie and Sandy. Uncle Vinnie and Sandy in the bar, in the Iron Bone talking and stuff. And Uncle Vinnie's telling Sandy that his girl got another man, and I'm sitting there going, he's forcing him to go back and get her. And to me, it's like, if that woman don't want to be with him, let him go. Don't force him to stay with somebody. He can find another woman. That woman don't want to have nothing to do with him. And he's telling him to go back and get her. Do you need backup? Because you know you're a little soft. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not soft. I got this. You know, I got it. He said, you sure? We can give you some backup. And he's like, nah, I don't need nobody. You know. So then he goes, you know, you're one to say something. And he laughs at him. And Uncle Vinny's like, what you saying? He said, you got the crier kid down there. You ain't killed him yet. He said, were you being disrespectful? Vinny's like, why are you being so disrespectful? What's up with that? He said, I was like, oh, Lord, how are you going to play tough to your uncle that you watched him shoot somebody in the head in a precinct, in a police precinct? He said, why are you trying to get me to dare me to do something that you know I would do and I'm not afraid to do? And he pushed him off the chair onto the floor, and I started laughing, you know. He pushed him on the floor and said, you know what, come back when you grow a set of balls. I was like, good for you. Good for you, you know. And he said, I'm running things now. That's what Uncle Vinny said. I'm running things now. And Sandy's like, I know. You let me know every day. You let me know every day. He's like, yeah, so you need to remember. And then it goes back to, oh, I know what else happened. Landon. It goes back to Landon. And Landon has this guy come in. And the guy who comes in, I guess he's like some kind of private detective, somebody who's finding out information for Landon about Oliver. And then he finds out who Oliver's contact is. He said he's a mercenary from New Zealand or something like that. And that Jim Cryer hired this guy to follow Veronica. And he's like, what? And he said, oh, you know who Veronica is? He said, everybody knows the devil. I said, oh, he got that right. Veronica is a devil. And he said, what else did he say? He said, yeah, but why is he in contact with him? Okay, we understand Jim got him the phone, but why is he? He said, oh, because your boy, he runs cocaine, and your boy has a drug problem, a coke problem. He said, he does. And Landon's little brain, you know, started going. He started going, and he said, where was this picture taken? And they said, behind a private airport. And he said, a private airport? He said, yeah, he was flown up in here in one of his father's planes. He said he was flown in a private jet up here for that? He said, and he's trying to figure it out. So Landon's going to set some kind of, he trying to set a trap for Oliver. So we'll see what happens with that. Then, what was the last thing? One of the last things that happened, Colby and them. Colby and Jeffrey and two of his friends. Two of Colby's friends come, Trevor and Terry. And they're saying, ooh, Jeffrey's on that. Ooh, he's cute and all this stuff. I guess they were at Madison's apartment. I don't know where they were. And, oh, he's cute. Madison did good and stuff. Tell me all about yourself. You know, they going through all of that. And he tells them, you know, no, bitches, this, that, and bitches, that. I was like, oh, please with that. It was just way too much bitches for me. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be all the time. But anyway, he discussed and told them about Veronica, his mother. And when he calls it, when Colby called his mother bitch, at least one of the other guys was like, hey, that's his mother. Like, have some respect. And I appreciated that. I appreciated that, because you just don't say that about people's mothers. But then Jeffrey's like, yeah, it's okay. You know, you haven't met her. But that's your mother. You don't let people call your mama that. You could call her what you want. You don't let other people do that. Call your mama no names. That's just my feeling, and I'm serious about that. You don't let people call your mama's name. I don't care if your mother is Eveline. I don't care. And his mama is, but you don't do that. So they talk about what Jeffrey said when he was drunk. And Jeffrey keeps saying, I was drunk when I said that, about skinny dipping and his mother's swimming in the pool naked. So they all go and decide they're going to go skinny dip in his mama's pool. When they out there doing that, Jeffrey doesn't want to do it. He's like, I'm not getting in that pool. And they're like, oh, come on, take your clothes off and get in. And Jeffrey's like, I ain't doing it. I just ain't. He don't want to do it. And the guys strip and go in there. And who's out there still in the dark? Samuel. And I'm like, why Samuel still there at nighttime? It was dark out, right? And Samuel, one of them said, oh, who's that? Oh, that was Colby. Who's that dude? And he goes over to him and he's trying to talk to Samuel. Samuel's ignoring him and stuff and talking back. He said, you could look at me. You never seen a naked dude before, you know. And he's like, no, I'm straight. Don't worry about it. I'm good, you know. And he tells him, go in there and tell that old bitch that we in her pool. And he said, yeah, right, okay. You know, and he goes in and tells Veronica, there's some people in your pool. And she said, what? He said, yeah, they swimming naked. And she goes out there, some guys out there swimming naked. And she's like, what the hell? And he's like telling her, what did he tell her? This is a new world. And he said, there are gay people in the world. That's what he said. Where's my notes? There are gay people in this world and we are here. And she's like, I don't give a damn about gay people in the world. I care about gay people in my pool. You know? And she telling him to get out. And he's like, no, we're not going nowhere. And we do nasty, like we do a lot of stuff to each other. And the guys swim up to them. And Jeffrey's sitting there, like standing there on the side, like, oh my God, this is not going to end good. And she said, you know what? No, you stay right there. And she went inside and to get her gun. And you hear Jeffrey telling him, get out, get out, get out. Hurry up, get out. This is not good, get out. She's like, no, y'all stay right there. And she goes out there like she going to shoot them. Talking about the things we do to each other. I said, Lord, they going to get themselves hurt. But that's how it ended. But the coming attraction for next week, oh my God. Oh my God. When you see... Ooh, I almost forgot to tell you an important part of this episode. When Veronica is sitting in her living room on the couch with a drink, just thinking about her life. She's going over her whole life in her head, in her mind, whatever. And you see it start off with her and David getting married and him saying he loves her. She's loving his life. And next thing you know, it's going through all the fights and stuff that they had, all the bad stuff. I mean, they were showing us from the wedding to when they got into that fight in the hotel and he called her name and she started throwing stuff around the hotel, to when she got mad and told him not to sleep there. If she came to the house, she would kill him. And she, I don't know if she said she gonna kill him, but she burned the house on fire, burned the house down with him in it. I mean, all of this stuff she did. They showed everything, the gunfights, the blowing up the car, him, her catching him in the hotel with the white lady from the campaign, him with Erica, him with, and them at the crier's house when he pretended that he cared about her. I mean, her mind went through everything. And I started feeling bad for her. But then I was like, she kind of caused all this herself. You know, she kind of brought it on herself. Even though I had a little soft part in my heart for crazy old Veronica, I did. I felt bad for her for a minute, but then I had to think about it. She brought it all on herself. But anyway, that was the last thing. I almost forgot to tell you. I got to work this into the video or something. Or I could just end it like this. Next week, Veronica and Samuel are kissing. We see that about to happen. We got to find out how that happens because she's like, I like when a man handles me. I was like, ooh. And he's like, ooh, I like that. And he started kissing her. But we know that his wife told him not to be kissing and messing with the people no more. So I don't know what's going to happen when Laura finds out. I'm hoping this is another one of her dreams. You know, I just hoping and praying it's a dream. And then they show her, on the phone saying that they're up to something. His name is Samuel. I don't know what it is, but I think they're up to something. So she got somebody trying to find out information about them. Then you hear Al, the guy from Hannah's church, is telling her that she could put all that money in her name, all because she's the executor, she can move all of Mrs. Cryer's money into her name. Now, I don't know if he's telling her that to help her protect Miss Cryer, you know, Catherine Cryer, because maybe that would protect them and people can't get that money. Or Hannah, I'm hoping, don't get power hungry. I hope that don't happen and she start getting crazy. That would be something if they put that in this episode and in this season. And then the last thing was they show Wyatt in the basement and all these guys got him and they're gonna cut his wrist. And I'm guessing these are these other Malone brothers that or Malone family members that we have yet seen but are supposed to be around sometime soon. So that's it for my review. I'll see you next week. Barbie J saying peace.